As we already know, Harry was the only one out of the gruesome twosome who was actually invited to the coronation. Meghan certainly was not, and she doesn't handle rejection very well, so she has told Harry that he needs to skip his father's big day. And it's not like we can say that Meghan is thinking about what is best for Harry. That's not the case at all. Instead, she is trying her best to make his life a living hell, to make him incredibly lonely. This is the family that Harry was born into, so he knows exactly what is required of him as a royal. He's probably not very happy that he's not going to be prominently showed off at the coronation, and he's not used to not being front and center. But still, telling so many lies, writing so many lies, and talking about private conversations that his family had with him have repercussions, and being in the back row with lesser royals is simply the price to be paid. But Harry is being such a pain in the butt when it comes to communicating clearly with the palace staff about his plans. Nobody knows exactly when he plans to arrive, where he's going to stay, and when he's going to leave. The palace doesn't even know if Harry's going to show up at all because he's being so vague. Why can't he just say that yes, he's going to be there for sure, let them know when he's going to come and where he'll be staying, and then get on the bus with all the other royals at the appointed time? How is that so complicated? Well, for Harry, I guess it is complicated because he's incredibly spoiled, he's not very intelligent, and he believes the coronation should be all about him. So does Harry's jealousy over Prince William's good life choices know no bounds? Well, apparently not. And Meghan, I guess, is still seething because they told her that she needed to stay away. She needed to stay home in Montecito. Nobody wants to see that awful smirk on her face through the ceremony that means nothing to her. So Meghan has decided that Harry needs to stay home too. Dumb as Harry is, he has no idea that Meghan is not looking out for him. He is not happy with her, but he still believes the college dropout is the most intelligent creature he has ever come across. I guess drugs have completely fried his brain. That is the only explanation I can come up with. Harry must be suffering from some brain damage. Meghan just wants to make Harry even more unhappy than she is, and if she can successfully destroy his relationship with his father and any other member of the family for that matter, then all the better for her. Many people are skeptical, thinking that Harry might not show up at all. Now, as a parent, this is going to hurt the king, but maybe it is time for him to understand that Harry is outside his reach at this point. Harry may be lost to Charles, but at least Prince William and everybody else in the family can be there to support the king and Queen Camilla too. I kind of hope that Harry does show up, just because I think it's going to break his father's heart if he doesn't. This day, though, is certainly going to be a win for King Charles and Queen Camilla, and the country and family are going to be happily celebrating. It is time for some good news after the loss of the late Queen 8 months ago, isn't it? The country is certainly ready to enjoy feeling happy once again, and nobody's really going to care if Harry doesn't show up except for his father. A father will continue to always have hopes and dreams for his children, and I'm sure he's hoping that Harry doesn't ruin the last bridge that he has left to home. Forsaking the coronation would basically be unforgivable. But everybody else is going to be A-OK. This weekend is going to be so much fun for the entire country and the Commonwealth too. We're just going to have to wait and see what happens Saturday. We don't have to wait long. Maybe Harry will stay home and maybe he will celebrate a fake birthday for an invisible son. Or maybe he'll just get completely drunk. Maybe it doesn't matter. Either way, I don't see a way for Harry to win in this situation. If he comes, the marriage is basically done, and eventually he will come back to the UK while Meghan does as much legal and reputational damage as she possibly can. I'm sure there will be no expense spared. It'll be kept in the headlines by her California PR people to try and overshadow the coronation with Queen Meghan of Narcissus hogging the limelight. And if Harry doesn't come, well, he has completely burned his bridges to his family, he stabbed his family in the back, and he alienated himself from the people of the UK too. Now, I think his family would forgive him, but they're not going to do that if he snubs his family and his father the king just for Meghan. That would mean that Harry's basically doomed himself to a life of isolation in their toxic California crazy house, reliant on handouts and keeping the sensationalist lie factory satisfied. In the meantime, the people of the UK and the Commonwealth are going to be busy celebrating and rejoicing at the coronation, with no consideration for those two babies who could have had it all but instead decided to spit in everybody's faces. Edward and Wallis are mistrusted, they are isolated, and they are despised. I really think that Meghan knows what she's doing. I think that she's trying to make a fool out of Harry in front of the entire world, so that then she can divorce him or perhaps even drive him to his death. She's already made a lot of money off that marriage, and then she can go her merry way with very little blame in her own mind, of course. She's going to blame the royal family, I'm sure. It's pretty convenient for her, right? I mean, Harry, addicted to drugs and alcohol under Meghan's control, is in many ways pathetic. It seems like he cannot think straight. I'm worried about him, and I do want some type of salvation for him. I just can't get the image out of my head of Harry as a cute little boy, following his mother, losing her way too young. I suspect Meghan thinks she can get a little more from the marriage to Harry, like her father and family, like her maternal ancestors, like so many friends, like her first 2 marriages. Harry is going to be thrown away when she's done with him. So Harry is basically pitching a little fit like a toddler in front of the entire world. He's incorrigible, he's uncooperative, rebellious, so defiant. This is Harry. This is who he is. I've also heard that Netflix is putting a lot of pressure on Harry for him to be there, and Meghan has been putting the pressure as only she can by hissing at him to stay home in California. My personal opinion is I think Harry is so scared to go anywhere without Meghan, when it comes to meeting with his family, that is. Harry already knows that he's a liar. He knows that deep down inside, and he knows that he's incompetent. He cannot stand on his own 2 feet or make a day in this world by himself. Apparently, Harry wanted to take the doll or rent-a-child that they call Archie along to use as a human shield against the booze. Yeah, okay, Harry, what a brave man you are, hiding behind a small, unsuspecting, sacrificial child to save himself. I guess that's what a real man does, right, Harry? But see, I think Meghan is still going to try to make him stay home, because that would mean that she's not going to have to hang out at home all by herself, feeling like the only one who was uninvited to the greatest event in decades. See, if she can scare Harry into staying home, then they can easily change the narrative from Meghan not being invited to, oh, the 2 of them were not invited. They'll happily craft a new ugly story to sell that'll keep their names in the headlines just a little bit longer. Now that Meghan has absolutely used him to death and used his millions to put herself in the driver's seat by signing off with a new agency, who reportedly are completely on board with trashing the monarchy for money, it's not really going to matter if Netflix stops working with them. Because then Meghan will have it all, and Harry will only have that stupid title. Meghan is a snake in the grass, that much is for sure. It's pretty interesting to me, too, the agency was not interested in Harry. They only wanted Meghan. Apparently they sought her out. They want to keep trashing the royal family for a lot of money, and they knew that she was their girl. Apparently, they knew that she was not going to let them down. They know exactly what Meghan is. She didn't even have to have a private meeting to get that offer. Reportedly, they're wanting to make money off of Meghan in commercials for baby products in China, while referring to her as the Duchess. That is what this world has come to, folks. She's going to be the face for millions of cheap Chinese products. But I think what they're really wanting, now this has been reported, is to use Meghan's children, which apparently she's already kind of fighting against. To do that, of course, she would have to produce these children, which could be a big problem. And she would have to treat them like the money-making tool that we already know they are. And again, they would show just how hypocritical they are, crying about privacy for those invisible children but selling them out to the Chinese. Personally, I believe that Meghan would be one of those nasty Hollywood mothers who would be jealous of her own children getting more attention than her. She's already shown us how jealous she was of a precious little 3-year-old girl, and she continues to be incredibly jealous of 9-year-old Prince George.